Lecture 2. For the following items, you will listen to a lecture about earthquakes and construction. As you listen, mark the alternatives that answer the questions or complete the statements. Before you listen to the lecture, you will be given 60 seconds to look at the questions and the alternatives.
Can we build a building strong enough to withstand earthquakes? Because every earthquake presents us with unique conditions, it's difficult to anticipate the stresses that will affect the structures we design and construct buildings accordingly. Therefore, our challenge is to try to design a building that will be as safe as possible for all types of earthquakes. In recent years, we've developed several techniques for building more earthquake-resistant structures. Earthquake-resistant structures are made by reinforcing concrete and using a technique called cross-bracing. Imagine steel beams that cross diagonally from ceiling to floor in a building. Before the walls are finished, you can see a vertical row of steel on the structure, and this cross-bracing tends to make a building very strong. Besides steel reinforcements, engineers have also devised base isolators, which are positioned below the building. The purpose of base isolators is to absorb the shock of the sideways shaking that can damage a building, causing it to collapse. Most of the base isolators that are currently being used are made of alternating layers of steel and synthetic rubber. The steel is for strength, but the rubber absorbs shock waves. In higher buildings, moats are placed in between each floor. A moat is a kind of water canal of flexible materials, and it allows the building to sway during an earthquake. Also, large rubber cylinders support all of the corners of the building. The combination of reinforced structures and flexible materials has been proven to reduce earthquake damage. But even these engineering techniques are insufficient if the building has been constructed on filled ground. Filled soil can lose its strength when it is subject to the shock waves of an earthquake, and the buildings constructed on it can disappear into the earth. So, in areas where earthquakes are known to occur, it's important to understand the soil, and you have to be sure that the ground is either solid or it's been adequately prepared. Okay, let's assume that we do everything right. We choose and prepare the construction site, and we design a building with plenty of reinforcements and flexible materials. We use cross-bracing, and we probably have a building with the strength to hold up under earthquakes, even high-magnitude earthquakes. This is great for the building, but what about the occupants? That is, people inside the building. One of the more recent areas of research is how to better protect the occupants during an earthquake. Well, the structure may be strong, but the furniture will probably be overturned or shifted during the earthquake, and that could result in major injuries for the people inside. One interesting possibility is to design buildings that have a series of pistons, and these pistons are filled with fluid and controlled by sensors in a computer. By analyzing signals from the sensors, the computer should be able to determine the magnitude of an earthquake, and when it does that, it can trigger electromagnets in the pistons to increase or decrease the strength of the shock absorbers built into the structure. If the earthquake is minor, then the building can be programmed to sway gently, and the people and everything else inside is protected smoothly. But during a high-magnitude earthquake, the shock absorbers can freeze the building to prevent it from shaking at all. The computer sensors work very quickly. They can react within 1/1000th of a second, and they can run on battery power since the electrical system usually fails during an earthquake. What if the concept fails to work? Well, the National Science Foundation is supporting more research into the potential of pistons, and so far the results are promising.